Today I want to tell you about how I overcame fear and took back control of my life, because I think fear is one of those things that holds so many of us back from doing what we said we were going to do, what we want to do. Everything in our path is held back by some internal fear that once mastered, once owned, once we take control of it, we can just take it to a whole different level in our life. So I'll take you back to 2013. I was on a building site in the UK, similar to that one behind me, and I was working in Peterborough in the UK, and I was working for what, £11.50 an hour doing English heritage carpentry and joinery. And on this job I was working at a cancer hospice, and in this cancer hospice, obviously it's where end of life care is given to so many people that are obviously coming to the end of life. The family can't support them anymore, and you know, the kind of work that we were doing in this place and the renovations that we were putting together were really heartwarming, what we could give to people at the end of their life. And every day, sadly, I used to see people get wheeled in wheelchairs, and then weeks later I'd see certain people getting wheeled out in coffins past the building site. And it was a real, like, there isn't words I can use to describe that. There isn't words. This one day I saw this guy getting wheeled in, and he was a chirpy fella. His name was John. We'll call him John for the sake of this video. And John was having a little bit of banter with me and the boys, back and forth, and over a series of weeks, and I think it was even months, I got to know John. I used to see him walk around the courtyard every day whilst we were doing this work, and I'd have a little bit of a back and forth with him. And while I got to know John, I used to ask John questions, and he used to say to John things like, you know, if what would you say, John, in your position, if I asked you, like, what are some of your life regrets? What are some of the things that you wish, if you could go back, you could change for how you've lived life and things like that? And one of the things John said to me was, he said, look, Frankie, one of the biggest regrets I have in life is I didn't travel more. I didn't take myself out of my environment more. I had these dreams and I didn't live life to the fullest. I lived the best I could around here, but I've never really left Peterborough. I've never really left like Cambridgeshire area. I've always been around family, and that's been very rewarding and very fulfilling, but I never really chased it in terms of internationally. And I got to talking to John about how I'd always dreamed about going to Australia, and one of the things he said to me was, how long has this been your dream? And I said to him, you know, it sounds silly, doesn't it, but I used to come home back from the boxing gym when I was like, you know, 16, 17, 18. I used to flick on the TV, and it used to be like, I don't know if some of you guys remember, but there used to be like A Place in the Sun, Bondi Rescue, Neighbours, all this kind of weird shit on the TV, but it was always related to Australia. And the one thing I thought about Australia is, wow, it's such an abundant place. There's beautiful homes, there's beautiful women, there's uninterrupted beaches. I want to live that life. But I always said to myself, it's a stretch too far. I can't do that. There's a, you know, how would I ever conceptualize doing that? And John said to me, like, what's holding you back from this life? And I said, well, I started to list off the excuses. You know, I had mortgages to pay. You know, what am I going to do over there? Am I going to get a job? Am I going to do this? Am I going to do that? And what he said to me was one of the most profound things that someone's ever said to me. And the reason why it was profound isn't because of what he said and how he said it. It was because it was the thing that made me take action to take my life further forward from that day, and to overcome the fears that had held me back in my whole life. John said, well, if it doesn't work out, you can always come back. And if you're struggling to afford it, just sell your car, and that'll pay for your ticket and a few weeks out there, and go and try it. But at least you can say that you've tried it. At least you can say that you've done it. And it's such a simple concept. And the reason I'm saying it to you is because all of you have the ability right now to you know, potentially sell your home and change your life, sell your car and change your life. You can reframe and move your life further forward in every area of your life just by simply doing a few small actions that can overcome all the doubt in your life. That, you know, and you just take that one step further forward. You take that one step of action, and then you overcome it, and then you take another step. And I went and I sat in this transit van, this white transit van I had. It was out front of this hospice, and I sat there next to my mate Alan, who will hopefully watch this video. And we sat down there, and you know, he's earning £300 a week, I'm earning £350 a week. I turned to Alan and I said to him, look, Alan, are we going to continue to live this life? Are we going to continue to, you know, live life less abundantly than what I feel that we deserve? Or are we going to just grow up a set of balls and book a one-way ticket and just figure it out? And I made an agreement with Alan that day, and I'm sure he'll remember it. We made an agreement sat in this transit van in Peterborough. We made an agreement that we were going to book a one-way ticket, the cheapest we could find, to Australia. We were going to save up for a couple of months, and we were going to disappear out of the UK. This was in 2013. This was in like the summer of 2013. So for the next 3, 4, 5 months, we worked our asses off. We were doing private jobs at the weekend. We were doing weekend security. We were doing everything to stack this money. And then we saved up our money. We booked a flight, and we just went and did it. We took action on it, and it was those profound things and those steps that I went through that allowed me to overcome so much fear in my life. Because when I landed in Australia and I saw how abundant Australia was at the time, I thought to myself, what's stopping me from doing anything? I took the first step. I overcame what was my biggest fear. I'd wanted to do this since I was 18 years old, and I'd never taken the action in my life, and that had always felt like it just held me back. And now I didn't have that excuse anymore, because I just took action on the biggest thing. And the reason I'm telling you this, right, the reason I'm putting this content out for you in the world, is because there's so many things that hold every single one of us back. But once you knock over whatever the biggest domino is, the biggest fear in your life, right? Once you knock over that big domino to that fear, and you start taking action, you'll see that nothing's beyond your limit. You can create your own reality. You too could be stood in the park, like looking at the palm right now. You could be in Australia right now. You could be anywhere that you want. You can have the business that does $1 million a month. Everything's on the other side of a definite decision to change the fact that you fear this, that, the other. You're fearing shit that doesn't even matter. You're fearing stuff that is essentially going to hold you back in all areas of your life. And if you knock down the biggest domino and you just take action on it, you can't unsee it. You can't unsee any other fear holding you back. Like the fear of rejection from a woman, the fear of anything else in your life that you might have fears in. And I want that for every single one of you that watch this video. I don't want you to live your life in any more fear. You know, for years and years and years, I had fear about putting out content online, and then I grew a set of balls one day and I started putting out my podcast, and that became really, really successful and has grown to a great level. The Frankie Lee podcast, if you want to go listen to it. So that's done really well. And then I had a fear about, you know, not being able to earn online revenue. I solved that with contentremoval.com, and I just took action. And I created an undeniable result in my reality, which I couldn't then unsee. And once you've seen it, you can't unsee it. So things have to change, and your capacity has to rise. Because if it didn't, you just stay in the same, essentially, right? So all I want you to do is just understand that whatever is your biggest fear right now, whatever's holding you back from this quote unquote thing that you say that you can't do in your life, whatever that is, the simplest way to do it is just to take action. Now, shortly after that conversation with John, I saw John's life come to an end. Not in the physical, but I saw John get wheeled out in a coffin the same way that other people in that hospice had gone. But one thing I promised myself was I'd never let his words die on that day either. Like I fully heard what that man said to me, and every day, I literally realised this the other week when I did a little bit of a podcast on it, like that day, those words, that meeting of John, just his approach to life, just his unequivocal voice at that time just changed my life forever. You know, I've been in Dubai the last 4 months. I've been to I was in Romania a few months ago doing an Andrew Tate podcast. I've been all over the world. I've lived in Australia. I've lived in America. You know, I've been all over the Middle East. I've done so much over the last 10, 11 years of my life. And you know, if John was speaking to me now, I reckon he'd be proud. And I'm proud of myself because I took action, right? And I want you lot to be proud of yourself. So, you know, if there's a fear that's holding you back, if there's something that you should have done that you haven't done, that you've been wanting to but you've been putting off, my question is why? What's on the other side of it? All you've got to do is sell your car, sell some of the technology that you're not using in your house. You can get some money together. You know, all you got to do is start the business. All you got to do is take the step. You know, there is literally no risk, because the biggest risk is that you don't take action, and then that you don't move your life further forward in your life. And I certainly don't want that for you. I really don't want that for you. I think every person in this world wants to be something better than where they are. I want that for you. I think you've got it in you. And yeah, I just wanted to get on here today and just say that to you. And I hope this frankly raw content is making a difference in your life. And if I can help you in any way, and you know, I built contentremoval.com, and you know, I've built software, and I've been all around the world, and I travel with this podcast, and you know, I've made connections everywhere, and I'm genuinely trying with this channel to not only step into my true light and put out the content that I want to put out, but I'm also trying to help a lot of people too. So there's a link below this video if you want to work with me directly. That'll just tell you how and the ways that you can work with me, and everything's in there. Other than that, I just want to see you win. I just want to see you win, overcome your biggest fears, step into your true light this year, live the life of abundance you want to live, and just absolutely smash it on all levels. And you know, whatever I can do on here to make you see that that's all available to you at every level of the game, whatever I've got to do, I'll do it. And hopefully a few of you reach out in a couple of years' time and say, do you know what, Frankie, I came across this video that you decided to put out, and it changed and reframed, and you were my John. You were the John that I needed at the time. You shook me up. You took me to a whole new level. And you know, if it can do that for you and it can take you to a new level, that would mean a lot to me. So yeah, just comment below this video any other videos that you think I can make with my experience that could help you move further forward in your life. And as always, guys, much love, and stay tuned for another video.